It's great to be here with you. Today we're going to work on neutral spine. So we're going to put a few of our alignment lessons together. Now, if you're new to these classes, the only alignment lesson that's up so far on the site is neutral pelvis. And that's purposeful because you should take your time really working on one lesson at a time, but you can slowly add in the other pieces as well. So neutral spine is when your pelvis, your rib cage, and your neck are in neutral alignment. And neutral pelvis is when your pubic bone is not behind or in front of your top two AS bones. So you're lining them up in a vertical plane. Neutral rib cage is when your breastbone is vertical. So right now it's subtle, but my breastbone is slightly lifted up. So dropping my breastbone down so it's vertical, the ribs drop back down and back into the body, and they line up with the front of the pelvis, flesh with the front of the pelvis, the bones. Don't worry about the tissues all around the bones. You're trying to line up the bones. And then a neutral neck is when your ribs drop down. There's a tendency for the head to come forward. You just gently slide your ears back over your shoulders. So we're going to put those pieces together the best we can as we move through this class. Most people's spinal issues stem from those three areas being out of alignment. And there's two places that people start from. One is that it's hard to even get yourself into neutral. For instance, you've accumulated so much tension over time around your neck that the head doesn't slide back with ease. You've accumulated so much tension around your shoulder girdle that the ribs don't drop down. You can't feel that, or it's hard to get the pelvis tilted into neutral. Then second place people start from is that they're able to easily move these parts of their body. But because they have such ease of move, their issue is not mobility but stability. And when they're walking around in life, say cooking or taking a shower or all the things that we do, they're not spending most of their relaxed time in neutral. They're either holding their breastbone up or tucking their pelvis under, or their head is coming forward, or a combination of all three. So let's start on our side like we did last week. I'm going to use a thin block with a towel on top. You could use 2 rolled up towels. You could use a couple pillows. We're going to do a side bend where you lay one side of your rib cage over whatever tools you're using, above your waist, below your armpit, and then extend your legs nice and long. You can always have another pillow for your head, or you can just have your arm down and rest your head on your arm. Reach your top arm and just let it rest on your side for now. Extending your legs nice and long and nice and slowly. First thing is check, is your pelvis in neutral? Is your pubic bone in front or back? And you're just feeling to the best of your ability. It's not about perfection, it's just getting a little closer in time. And then your rib cage, is it thrust it forward? Can you relax your ribs back into the body? And when that happens, did your head come forward? Back your head up a little. But with your arm by your side, we're just going to nice and slowly lift our head up and drop our ear down. And head goes up and slowly go down. And head goes up and slowly goes down, and head goes up and slowly go down. And then just hold there. And if your head doesn't rest all the way on your arm, please do put a towel or a pillow there so you're not hanging out in the air. And now use your top arm and reach it up and over any amount and back up into the air. Palm turns to face your other hand. Overhead and back up into the air, and overhead and back up into the air, and overhead and back up into the air. All right, bring that hand down in front of you, lift your head up first, come on up, and now you're going to scoot and you're going to put whatever tools you're using, and you can lower it if you'd like to, right underneath the side of your hip. So you're going to hop, whichever side you're on, you're going to hop that hip right onto your prop, right on the side of your buttocks, the side of your hip, and then you're going to let yourself come back down. Again, making sure your head and neck are comfortable, your legs are extending nice and straight, and then find that place where you feel like you're not rocking forward or back on your hip. And you can either just hold your there and keep your hand steady, or you can do the arm motion again, where you reach your arm over and back up and over and up and over and up and over and up, and then bring that hand down, press yourself up, and you can either turn around and just listen to my words, or you can spin around and face me like I'm spinning around and facing you, and start with your rib cage below your armpit, above your waist. And so a lot of what we do in this class is just trying to bring ourselves back to neutral, because we want neutral to be our resting place. A lot of, reach your arm by your side, a lot of spinal issues, I could even go say it as far as most spinal issues, come from this issue, come from either not being able to get into neutral or not spending most of our time in neutral when we're resting and just moving and not really paying attention to what we're doing. All right, from here, your head goes up and slowly down. Check that you're not rolling forward or back. Head lifts up and slowly down. And head up and slowly down. And head up and slowly down. Now take your top arm into the air, palm faces towards the crown of your head, the top of your head. Go over and back up and over and up and over and up and over and up. Bring that hand in front of you, press yourself up, hop up so you're now on your hip. So whatever tools you're using, you're laying right on the side of your hip, crawling yourself down, resting your head on your arm, lining up your legs so you're on the center of your hip. And then you can either hold your hand here and just enjoy that sensation down the outside of your hip, or you can take that arm into the air and go over and up and over and up. Two more like that. Over and up and over and up. Good. Bring that hand down in front of you. Press yourself up. Come on off your props. We're going to come onto our backs. So you can put whatever you'd like, a rolled up towel, a block underneath your head. I'm going to put a rolled up towel underneath my shoulder blades and then a block underneath my head. Your shoulder blades at the very top of your upper back. And then my head's going to be a little bit higher. You could also do your head a little bit lower, just as long as your chin stays down. So especially if you have an issue anywhere along your spine, anywhere within your core, you want to be checking more often. Now, of course, my head is lifted forward here, so my head's not going to be in neutral. But the reason my head and shoulders are lifted is because you want to work on your ribs forward. So having your shoulders and your head lifted allows your ribs to drop down. Just make sure when your ribs are coming down, you're not tucking your pelvis under. Your waist isn't flat, the back of your thighs aren't lifted up. So you also tilt your pelvis so the front of your pelvis is flat. Always work from the pelvis, then the ribs, then the neck. And then from here, let's hug your right knee into your chest, keeping the pelvis in neutral, and just spread all your right toes open and let them relax close. And spread and relax. Spread your toes open and relax, and spread your toes open and relax. Now keep this right knee in, reach your arms straight up into the air, bring all your fingers together with nice straight fingers, and then gently spread your fingers wide. Bring your fingers back together, reach your arms a little bit higher over, and spread your fingers and bring your fingers together. And all of this is happening without the ribs lifting up. Take your arms a little farther over, hold there, Spread your fingers open and close your fingers a little tiny bit farther overhead. Spread your fingers and close them, maybe a little farther over unless your ribs start to lift up. Spread your fingers and close your fingers. Now stay there, spread your fingers just with your arms holding, your ribs dropping down, and move your right knee out and across the body a little bit. And out and across, breathing. Out and across and out and across. And then bring that leg back to center and extend that leg long, and then bring your arms back down and bring your left knee in, keeping the pelvis in neutral, ribs relax down on both sides as you spread your toes and relax them. And over time, try to see if you can get, if you've gotten good at spreading them, that's the first step. The next, see if you can spread them in a straight line and relax. Spread your toes and relax. Spread your toes and relax. Now keep that knee in, tailbone still tilting down, ribs relaxing down. Reach your arms into the air. This time keep your fingers all closed so all the fingers are touching each other as you nice and slowly go overhead without the ribs coming up, without the chin lifting up. And then slowly bring your arms back down and down by your sides. Lift your hands a little bit off the floor. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Nice and slowly go up and over, watching the ribs staying relaxed down. And then hold there and take your knee across a little bit and open out to the side. And knee goes across the body and open out. And across and open and across and open. And then bring that knee back to center. Bring your hands with your spreading fingers back down, and then put your left foot down, bend your right knee. And now we're going to do this pose with the soles of the feet together and the knees open, but we're going to do it with our feet 3 different widths. And if you have a block, you can kind of use to measure. You can even keep the block between your feet, but like starting at the thinnest width, you'll put the block between your feet, and you can hold onto the block. Or with your thighs dropping open, you can just take your feet a little bit away from the block, but have your feet that wide apart from each other. So however far that is, have your feet that wide apart from each other. You're welcome to stick some extra towels or pillows under your thighs here, as we'll be here for a little while, but reach your arms into the air. Turn your palms to face behind you. Bring your pinky fingers together. Open your arms out to the floor, and you can either work with your thumbs touching down to the floor, or you can turn your palms flat to face the ceiling if that feels better for your shoulders. But get that rotation, whatever you choose, and simply move your arms up and down, paying attention to your rib cage, paying attention to your pelvis. Pelvis first, rib cage next, skull third. And so very often, if you're feeling discomfort somewhere along your spine, these are the root issues. The pelvis consistently being out of neutral, the rib cage consistently being out of neutral, or the head and the skull consistently being out of neutral. And sometimes it's one side more than the other. Sometimes you'll be thrusting more on one side of your rib cage than the other. So you just have to pay attention to that. But by the time you're feeling discomfort somewhere, it usually means that you've had the habit for a while. So be patient, because it's going to take some time to realign yourself and wake up the underused muscles and calm down the overused muscles. And do a couple more of these. Okay, from there, you're going to take that block, or just take your feet a little wider, spin it onto the second widest width, and again, you can hold onto the block between your feet, or just open your feet a little wider than the block. Your knees will probably come up a little higher. Reach your arms into the air, curl your hands into fists with your arms shoulder distance apart, and circle your wrists nice and slowly, but try to do so without your forearms and your shoulders moving. So you're really focusing on just moving the wrist and trying not to go too quick through the circles. And then pause and circle in the other direction. Again, keeping the forearms still, the elbows still, the shoulders pretty still. All right, and then relax your wrist. And now you can take the block to the widest width between your feet, put it down. You don't have to touch your feet to the block. You can open your feet a little bit wider as your thighs drop open. And then from here, bring your arms up into the air, turn your palms to face behind you, and bring your elbows and pinky fingers as close together as they'll go, and then bend your elbows into like a 90-degree angle about. And then trying to keep your elbows as close as they'll come. If you have an extra block, you can stick a block between your elbows, go overhead with your arms and back down. And you're going straight overhead, so not diving to the floor, just arms, your forearms and your fingers stay straight, and bring your elbows back down. And reach and come down. And a few more of these, breathing. Ribs stay relaxed down, pelvis is in neutral. My pelvis was starting to tuck. I could feel my waist flattening, so I just tilted my tailbone a little bit to the floor. Good. And then relax your arms, lift your legs up. You can take that block and move it out of the way. And then from here, with your legs bent, tilt your tailbone down, lift your right foot up off the floor, and extend that leg up into the air as straight as it will go. Take your time, be patient, and bend your knee. And extend, reaching up long through all sides of the thigh, and bend the knee. And extend up, and bend the knee, and extend up and hold, and now circle your ankle without much motion in your knee moving side to side or your hip moving. Of course, you might feel the muscle connection down your leg, but it's without actually moving those parts. And pause and circle in the other direction. And notice if there's any part of the circle that you tend to go quickly through, that's the area you want to slow down on. And then bend that knee and lift your left foot off the floor, still tilting your tailbone down instead of it tucking under. And then extend up into the air and let the knee bend. Take your time, feel all sides of the thigh. Extend up, the inner, the outer, the back, and bend. And extend, and bend, and extend, and hold the leg up there, knee, hip, and ankle in line, and circle your ankle without moving the thigh bone around, without moving the knee around, without rotating or moving the leg in or out. Go slow with your ankle circles, and then pause and circle in the other direction. Try to draw that complete circle. Good. And then go ahead and bend that knee. Cross your right ankle over your left ankle. Walk your feet in opposite directions of each other. And then let your thighs drop open. And if you want a little bit more to get into your hips a little bit more, you can work with a neutral ankle. So instead of letting your feet just kind of lay flat, you can flex your ankles and keep the outer edges of your feet straight as your thighs drop open. You can stay right here, or you can pick up your front foot, your right foot, and put it on your lower leg, not on your knee, but below on your lower leg, and let that thigh drop open. Again, working with neutral ankle, maybe on just the top foot, or maybe on the top and the bottom foot, or closer to neutral ankle. And then from here, let's drop our chin down towards our throat. And if you want to, you can turn your block. If you have a block on your head, you can turn your block one height higher. And with your chin dropping down, roll your chin a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. Go slow. Keep your chin dropping down the whole time. And we'll just go side to side a few times here. Checking in with the hips. Always feel free to put bolsters under your thighs. Any kind of towels or pillows or support. Relax any clenching. And let's do one more side to side with the neck, keeping the chin down and in. Relax the forehead, relax your jaw. And then bring your chin back to center, uncross your right ankle, or if it was just in front, then just switch. Cross your left ankle in front. Walk your feet as far apart as you can so you're crossing higher and higher at your knees. Again, you can work with a relaxed ankle, or you can flex your ankle and kind of push your inner arch forward a little bit. Let your thighs drop open. This might be plenty and wonderful of a sensation for your hips. You can also mix it up sometimes by putting your front ankle on top of your lower leg, not above the knee or on the knee, but right on the lower leg, and let that thigh drop open. And then just breathing here. And then relax your ribs down, pelvis tilts into neutral, so the pubic bone is at the same height of the top two bones, chin drops down, and roll your chin to the right. And this time just stay with your chin dropping down and breathe. Relaxing around the hips, relaxing any clenching. With your chin dropping down, roll your chin over to the other side. And then bring your chin back to center. Either take your top foot off or just bring your legs up, uncross your ankles, and either, if you have props underneath you, it's not going to be easy to roll up and down. So then just roll to one side and press yourself up and come around onto your knees. From your knees hip distance apart, which is those two ASIS bones, ankles as wide as your knees. Tuck your toes under as much as you can, trying over time to get closer to the balls of your feet. Bring your forearms down, elbows under your shoulders. Relax your belly so your tail's high in the air. So here, your pelvis is in neutral, interestingly enough, when you're not tucking your pelvis under. When the belly is relaxed and the tail goes in, the front of the pelvis is more flat when you're on all fours. But if you can easily relax your pelvis into neutral, just be conscious that you don't thrust your ribs to the floor. So ribs lift up a little bit, but without losing that curve in your lower back. And from here, go back and forward with your hips a few times. Ankles steady, straight up and down. Breathing. Takes some time and patience, but once you start feeling neutral alignment in your body and understanding it, and you really have, it's really empowering, because then if you feel something off in your neck or your mid back or your lower back, you start to have an idea of where it's coming from. And that's so empowering, rather than just thinking, oh no, I'm having this issue and I have no idea what to do on my, you'll start to slowly over time be able to figure out what you need to work on patiently and persistently. And it starts with a neutral spine. Any issue along the spine. All right, come all the way onto your belly now. So crawl yourself down, and let's go ahead and come into an adductor, an inner thigh stretch. So you're going to bend one knee out to your side, no higher than your hip, because you don't want your waist to hike up. So just about in line with your hip, and try to scoot yourself to get more of the front of the pelvis to touch down, and then lay your ribs down nice and evenly on the mat. And you can let your head relax all the way down. I'm just keeping my head lifted in case I say anything. Breathing here, relaxing around the thighs, relaxing around the buttocks. Okay, how about extending that leg all the way? My foot might be cutting off camera here, but my ankle is flexed. I'm laying on the inside of the foot. And same thing, consistently relaxing around the buttocks, relaxing around the thigh. Mentally relaxing. And you only might get a little tiny bit of relaxation at a time. Sometimes you might get no relaxation, but you're just doing your best to try. And then rebend that knee, slide it back behind you, bend your opposite knee out, knee in line with the hip, and then try to scooch yourself in a way that you get more of the front of your pelvis down to the floor. And breathing here. Try to relax that ankle, the lower leg as much as the thigh to come down. Mentally letting go over and over again. And then extending that leg any amount. Ankle flexed, inner edge of the foot down. Noticing if anything new clenched up. And then bend that knee, slide it back behind you. Use your hands next to your chest. Curl your ribs up the floor, off the floor first to press yourself away from the floor. And then bring your knees right underneath your hips, your wrist under your shoulders or back a little bit, wrist a little bit wider than your knees. Spread your thumbs out towards each other. Wrap your elbow pits to face forward. Relax your belly, so now your pelvis is in neutral. So if you were to feel your pelvis, you would feel that the front of it is flat. Those three bones are lined up. And then let's move our ribs up and down into rhomboid push-ups. Our whole rib cage. And the up portion is more of a neutral rib cage. So the ribs are not going below the pelvis, but they're lifting up in line with the bones of the pelvis. And the shoulder blades spread nice and wide. Okay, just a few of these today, and next time you come up, push down through your left leg, extend your right leg back, cross it over across your left ankle, really tuck those toes under, push back. If your hips go out to the left, bring them back to the right, lift up into that rhomboid push-up, put a little bend in your elbows and rotate your elbows in and out. Press more equally through the palms of your hands. And then keep your elbow pits wrapping in as you bring that leg back. Put the knee down, extend the opposite leg back, cross it across the ankle, tuck the toes under, press back, bring your hips back to your left, and then lift the ribs up, bend your elbows a little, and rotate your elbows. Breathing, pressing equally through the palms of the hands. So elbow pit forward is neutral elbow. Good, and then bring that leg back, lower that knee down, stand up into a low lunge, step your right foot forward. You might want a block or two for what we're going to do next, but you're going to Inhale, reach your arms up, pelvis in neutral. So bring that pubic bone forward under the ASIS bones. Ribs relax down, ears slide back over the shoulders. And then bring your hand down to the block or the floor and stretch back. Heel down, toes up in the air. Take a breath here, spread all your toes open. And then let them close. And then bend into that right knee, push your pubic bone forward without lifting the ribs up. And bring your hands back down and stretch your leg nice and straight. And now rotate your thigh bone internally. So the whole thigh bone turns in. And when your thigh bone is turned in here, how about spreading all your toes here and letting them relax? And then from there, turn your foot back to straight, arms rise up. And bring your hands down, push your hip back, rotate your thigh bone out so your toes and your knee turn out to the side, pushing your hips back, trying to somewhat keep a neutral spine. So the lower you are, the harder it will be to keep a neutral spine. Tilting your tailbone back, ribs up, and then spread all your toes out here. And then relax, bring that foot back up, stand up on your lunge and switch sides. Slide your right leg back, slide your left leg forward, outer edge of the feet straight, ankles hip distance apart, arms rise up. And bring your hands down to the floor or the block as you back up, putting the back of your heel on the floor, pushing your hips back. Spread all your toes here and relax them. Bend into the knee. You could always pad the back knee, pubic bone forward. And bring your hands down, flex your ankle, internally rotate so your knees and toes turn in a little bit. And how about spreading all your toes here? And relax them. Bring the foot back to straight. Inhale, rise up. Lead with the pubic bone. Exhale, hands down. Straighten that leg. Rotate your thigh bone out so your knees and toes turn out to the side. Push back through the hips. How about spreading all your toes out here? And then bring it back and bend into that knee. Tuck your back toes under. At first you can lean forward and use your hands. Over time, slowly, try to lean forward less and less hands. Try not to scoot your knee back underneath, behind your knee, because we want to use more of the buttocks. So try to keep your ankle right under your knee as you push down to come up. Little baby steps at a time. Grab whatever you're going to use for a calf stretch. I'm going to use a thin block today. I haven't used a thin block in a while. I've been using my towel a lot. Put the ball of your foot up, your heel down on the floor, outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Maybe step that outside foot forward a little bit unless you feel like you are clenching or losing your balance. And then just with your arms hanging by your side, right here, because this is where the most of the time we spend out of neutral alignment is when we're sitting or standing, do you tend to thrust your pubic bone forward. Back it up, backing up your whole thigh bone so your weight's closer to in your heels. Do your ribs and breastbone tend to lift up? Relax them down. Does your head tend to slide forward? Slide your ears back. And now just rotate your arm bones by your sides here. Going all the way in one direction and all the way in the other. Not forcing anything. If you feel any pulling down your arm into your elbow area, go slower in that area. And it's interesting because if you do feel that, then you'll discover what angle you feel that in. Okay, let's switch feet. Elbow pits, palms forward, switch feet. Ball of the foot up, outer edges of the feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. You can step that outside foot forward a little bit or not. Check, is your pelvis in neutral? Is your weight back over your heel? Ribs relax down, breastbone in vertical, ears slide over the shoulders. And rotate. Try to feel as though you're rotating from the very top of your arm bone. Breathing here. Feel like your weight is equal between both of your legs. And then from there, step off of there. You can put that to the side, wherever it is. And then we're going to stand with the outer edges of our feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Push down through your outer right hip. If it tends to pop out, hug it in. Flex your left ankle and micro pushbacks. The smaller, the better. because we're just trying to open the front of the hip a little bit and engage the back of the leg and the buttocks. And if you swing too far back, you start to use your lower back muscles. So we're shortening the range of motion to keep the work in a particular set of muscles. And then from there, next time you swing back, tuck the top of the foot under, put the top of the foot, and gently roll your ankle a little bit side to side. This should not hurt. There might be pressure on the top of the foot, but it should not hurt. If it hurts like your bone is pushing into the floor, there's not mobility. Number one, adjust your foot. Or number two, stick a towel or a pillow under your foot as you do this. Good. And then bring the foot back, feet straight, ankles hip distance. Push down through the left hip, hug it in. Let the right foot float up. And micro pushbacks here. The smaller, the better. And eventually you'll be able to push down through that left hip so much that your right leg can stay really straight as it's swinging back. Weight is back in the heel, breathing. And then next time you push back, tuck the top of that foot under. And roll the ankle slowly side to side. So discomfort, yes. Pain, no. Nothing we do should feel painful or even... It's hard to, determine what someone thinks is pain and someone doesn't. But if it is a high discomfort level, then that means there's probably inflammation in the area and you don't want to further irritate it. So you want to give yourself a cushion, a bolster under your foot, or just change your foot a little bit so you're not rolling onto something that feels very uncomfortable. All right, from there, bring that foot back, and then we'll start at the top of the mat. Outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. We will rotate into a half forward fold, backing your hips up, noticing spine into neutral. So the more your pelvis rotates and your spine stays in neutral, the more those bones line up, the more your ribs stay flush with your pelvis, and then you can always work on ramping your head here rather than letting your head drop down, which kind of rounds your upper back, over round your upper back. And then press down for the back of the legs to come up. Sit back into a chair pose and press up. Let's do it again. Step your feet as wide as the mat. This way you have an edge to line up your straight feet on, and rotate from the pelvis, backing your thigh bones up. And then slowly come up and sit back, trying to draw the hips back so the knees don't go past the ankles, watching if your thighs collapse in. And then press up. Let's do it once more, hip distance apart. Rotate back, thigh bones nice and straight. And come on up and sit back in your hips. Bring your hands down to the floor, and then step your left leg back into a lunge. From there, put your knee down. Now your right leg is forward. You're in a low lunge, stand up. I'm going to turn around to give you a better perspective. And then from here, you're going to heel toe your right leg out to the side. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. And only so far that your hips can stay facing center. So heel toe that foot out, edge of the foot straight. Open your arms out, palms up. And then reach your right arm up into the air as you lean over. Ribs relax down, ears slide back over the shoulders. Then bring your elbow down to your knee and reach your top arm up and over here. And then come all the way up and over and bring your hand either to a block or the floor outside your left knee. Spread your left thumb, wrap your left elbow pit forward, and then extend your right leg long and turn your knee toes to point forward, and then from there you'll reach either keep your hand on your hip or reach your arm into the air and lift that leg. Keep rotating your spine open here, pubic bone forward, ribs relax back, ears slide back. Tap the foot down and lift and tap, lift and tap, lift and tap. Now lift, hold, reach your top arm over and up into the air. Keep wrapping that bottom elbow pit and reach the arm over and lift up and reach over and lift up and reach over and lift up. Bring that foot down, pull yourself back up, Rebend your right knee, heel toe, and walk it back around to the front of the mat. Bring your hands inside your right foot. Lift your left knee and walk halfway around to the left, paralleling your feet. And then once your feet are parallel, come all the way up to stand. Turn your right toes out 90 degrees, outer edge of the foot straight, bend into the knee. Open your arms, warrior two, hands a little bit below your shoulders. Now check, where is your pelvis? And then from there, where is your rib cage? From there, where are your ears over your shoulders? And then inhale, lift your right arm up into the air. Exhale, bring your elbow or hand down to your knee as your top arm goes up and over. And then press through the feet to come up. Straighten your right leg, turn your toes in, turn your left toes out 90 degrees, outer edge of the foot straight, bend into the knee, knee right over the ankle, checking the pelvis. So this is neutral too. This is not neutral if it's crooked. Try to line up those bones straight, vertical and horizontal. Open your arms up, warrior two. Inhale, reverse, lifting up. Exhale, bring that elbow or hand to the knee. Top arm goes up and over. And push into the feet to pull yourself up. Straighten that leg, parallel your feet. Rotate forward from your pelvis, backing your thigh bones up. And move your hips back. Think more about moving your hips back and keeping your spine in neutral as you come halfway down. Breathing here. And then over time, you'll be able to roll your pelvis a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more while still keeping the ribs up and your head ramped a little bit. Good. And then bring your hands down. Walk back around to your right foot at the front of the mat. Put your back knee down. Stand up in your low lunge. Push down to step up. All right, feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Push down through your outer right hip. Your left foot floats up. Weight back in the heel. Even here, ribs relax down, pelvis in neutral. Lift that leg out to the side and lower it down. You can tap it down every time or keep the ankle flexed. And lift and lower. And lift and lower. And lift and lower. Feet, outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance. Push down through your outer left hip, hug it in. The right ankle flexes, weight back in the heels, and lift, and lower, and lift, and lower. Tapping down or keeping the ankle flexed. And lift, and lower, and lift, and lower. And then lower your foot down. Sit back into your chair pose. Press into your heels to come up. Rotate forward from the pelvis, backing your thigh bones up. And slowly come back up. Step your feet as wide as the mat, outer edges of feet straight. Sit back. And then press into the feet to come up. Rotate forward from the pelvis, heels as wide as pinky toes. And come on up. Come back to feet hip distance apart. This time, rotate the pelvis first, backing the weight up into the heels. And then slowly come up, sit back into a chair pose. Bring your hands to the floor, keep your left foot forward, step your right leg back, and then lower your knee down and stand up in your low lunge with your left foot forward. With your left foot forward, heel toe out to the side, checking that your right ankle is right behind your knee. Keep the pelvis squared. See how far you can walk that knee open. Open your arms to the sides, and then from there, take a breath. Check. Pubic bone under the top two bones, ribs relax down, ears slide back. Lift your left arm up into the air. Bring your right elbow or hand down and reach your right arm up and over there. Breathing subtly. Did your ribs come forward? Did your head come forward? and then bring yourself back up. Bring your hand down to a block or the floor outside your right knee. Wrap that elbow pit towards your arm and then extend your leg. Hand to the hip or hand in the air. Keep wrapping the elbow pit, turning open, and lift and tap. And lift and tap. Lift, reach long and tap. Lift, reach long and tap. This time lift. You can keep your foot on the floor or keep it lifted. Reach your arm overhead and lift up into the air. Reach your arm overhead and lift and reach and lift and reach and lift. Bring that foot down, pull your body up, bend your knee as you walk it back forward in front of you. Bring your hands down inside your left foot, tuck your back toes, lift your knee, walk halfway around to the right, and then you're coming up and paralleling your feet. If you came up to stand and you were twisted around, you can turn yourself around. Now let's do something a little bit different. Step your left foot in front of your right foot, just a little bit. So maybe your heel lines up with your toes, and then turn your left foot out from there. And so we'll take a warrior two with our feet a little bit crooked just to change the work in our hips. Breathing here. So your foot is in front of your back foot. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, go up and over, side angle pose. And then pull yourself up. Now turn those toes parallel. The left foot is still slightly in front of the right foot, hips squared. Rotate and push your hips back. So a crooked leg, wide forward folds. And slowly come back up. All right, take your time, step that foot back, feet parallel, step your right foot forward a little. So maybe your toes line up with your heel. Turn your right toes out 90 degrees, edge of the foot straight, bend into the knee, warrior two here. Slightly crooked stance, just to use our hips slightly different. And inhale, reverse. Bending into that knee. And come up and over side angle, hand or elbow to the knee. Breathing. Checking where the weight is in your feet. Put it in the heels, but actively use the front of the foot. Pull yourself up. Now parallel your feet, but your right foot is a little in front of your left foot, and rotate from your pelvis. Neutral pelvis, neutral rib cage, neutral skull. Backing your weight up into your heels. And then slowly come up and step that front foot back a little bit. Then again, rotate forward from your pelvis. Walk back around to your left foot at the front of the mat, spinning into your lunge. Put your back knee down. Stand up here, tucking your back toes under, and push down to come up. Okay, let's come over to a wall space for just a moment, and we'll put your elbow on the wall in line with your shoulder. So I'm going to be blocking the view, but it would be in line with your shoulder, and your hand flat on the wall. Check feet straight, ankles hip distance apart, back your weight up, and then turn your chest slightly towards the center of the room. Let's reach this arm out to the side, palm forward, and bend and straighten the elbow. Are the ribs lifting up? Relax them down. It's the head coming forward. Slide the ears back. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Now come off away from the wall so your hand is straight in line with your shoulder, elbow, wrist. You can wrap your elbow pit towards the ceiling a little bit, and then from there, turn your chest open any amount. Bend that outside elbow. Keep turning your chest open and extend and bend. Extend and bend. Extend and bend. Extend and bend. Your whole time this inside arm was straight, release that arm. Turn around for the other side. So I'll show you crooked. This is what the arm looks like the first time. This is what the arm looks like the second time, just so that you can see. But your shoulder, elbow, wrist are in line with each other, so not crooked. Put your forearm on the wall, feet straight, ankles hip distance. Keep your feet straight, just turn your body open any amount. Reach that other arm out to the side, ribs relax down, ears slide back. Bend and extend. Bend and extend. Weight back in the heels. Bend and extend. Bend and extend. Now come away from the wall. Elbow, wrist, and shoulder in line. Wrap the elbow pit towards the ceiling. Turn your chest open any amount, like you're spinning open towards your outside arm. And then bend that elbow and lift up and down. Don't bend the elbow of the arm that's attached to the wall. Lift up and down. And up and down. And up and down. And then extend that arm, lower the hand down, lower the hand. Okay, have a chair, or you can use your same wall space. And now you're going to, we were doing this balance earlier where you push down and lift your leg into the air, but now we're going to do it with our thigh really an external rotation because we're turning our foot, and hopefully our thigh at least goes along a little bit. So whatever foot is close to the chair, you're turning those toes towards the chair, but notice how when you turn your foot, your hips want to turn. So can you turn your foot and keep your foot, outer edge of your foot straight, and turn your hips back to face forward? And then lean over to the chair and notice how your body keeps wanting to turn. Keep rotating back to face away from the chair. Bring your hand to the seat of the chair, the back of the chair. Lean into it and then lift that outside leg into the air. And you're backing your weight up into your heel, reaching long through that outside leg and rotating your spine open. Ribs relax down, ears slide back. Reach the top arm into the air. Breathing. So the purpose of doing this with the prop, go ahead and come on down and we'll switch sides, is because usually when we go into this pose, we go in, but our hips are facing down somewhat, and then we roll open. Well, it uses your muscles differently if you try to do your best to come in without rolling open. You try to come in with your hips already in the position you want them to be. So your outer edge of your foot is straight. That's important, that it's not turned way in one way or the other. And then you're turning your leg towards the chair, but then trying to keep your hips facing straight ahead towards whatever screen you're looking at. And then you lean over without turning towards the chair and push down into that outer hip, the back of the leg that we use for balancing, and lift the other leg into the air. And now your hips, your hips are stacked, rotating on top of each other. Back the weight up into the heel of the balancing leg. Breathing here, and then maybe that top arm reaches into the air. Reach long through that top leg. Breathing. And then bring the arm down and bring the foot down and turn your feet straight, and then face your chair and bring your hands to the chair or to the back of the chair. If your spine is really rounded, then start with the back of the chair. And just feet straight, ankles hip distance, push your hips back a little. And then if you'd like to, you can come up and turn this into a double calf stretch. So an extra rolled up mat, a wider rolled up towel, put the balls of both feet on, the heels of the floor on the ground, feet straight, rotate your pelvis. When it stops rotating, that's where you decide where you're gonna put your hands. Breathing here. Smooth inhales and exhales. And then slowly come up. And before we come down to the ground, sit back into a chair pose, feet straight, ankles hip distance, cross one ankle over and sit your hips back. And switch. Feet straight, ankles hip distance, sit back, cross the opposite ankle over. And slowly come up and uncross, and then put your chair out of your way if it was in your way. And come on down, and we're going to sit on the floor, so maybe something a little higher. If you have a half dome, one thing you can do is you can sit on it with the flat side up, and it helps to tilt your pelvis into neutral. You could also sit on a block if you need more height to help your pelvis tilt, maybe a towel stacked on top, maybe even a short stool you can sit on. But sitting down, and extend your legs into a wide V. Try to rotate that pelvis forward a little, flex your ankles, and rotate your thigh bones a little bit here. And really all you can do, if your pelvis won't come into neutral yet, if your ribs won't come into neutral, just more mobility movement in that area. You're coming as close to neutral as you can, and you're doing more mobility exercises in that area. If your pelvis moves easily, then you're trying to get into neutral and stabilize there as you gently move. So for you, probably a little bit of a slower motion to make sure, because your joints, because you move so easily, making sure that it's not very subtle, that you're really staying in neutral as you move, and that's what will help you get into the underused muscles. Okay, from here, let's keep our feet wide, pelvis forward, ribs relax down, ears slide back. Take your right arm up and over, breathing. And then switch. Pelvis neutral, ribs relax down. Take your arm up and over. And slowly come down. Okay, rock back a little so you can bring your feet a little closer. Rotate your pelvis upright and do some thigh rotations here. Part of life, and bring your legs forward a little more and rotate here. Part of life is that just we're active, hopefully human beings, we're moving around. There's going to be things that come up in our body. And so understanding neutral alignment and being able to bring yourself back there and kind of reset your body is just, to me, such an amazing and a fun tool to understand. All right, bring your legs straight in front of you. Rotate a little bit there, trying to keep that. You can use your hands a little. That's what I'm doing to keep my pelvis a little bit more upright. And then from there, just go ahead and rotate your pelvis forward and hinge forward a little bit. Breathing. When you flex your ankles, do your toes always pull back? Can you try to relax your toes? And then over time, it takes time, but you'll just start noticing, oh, my ankles are coming a little bit more to neutral. My feet are staying a little bit more neutral. My pelvis is staying a little bit more neutral. And it's cool and it's encouraging, because during those times, you should start to even feel better in your body as you're moving. I only really had one injury, which I've told you about before, that led me to study human biomechanics. I don't know that I felt my body that clearly, that I was in touch with feeling it as it moved. But clearly the one thing I remember after starting to do these practices was that all of a sudden when I was moving, I was like, my body feels good. And then that was clear. Like when I was moving, my lower back felt good. And like, who thinks that? You know, most people, either their lower back is fine or their lower back is having issues. And instead I start to think, oh wow, this part of my body feels good. Now there's still parts of my body that I haven't experienced that with yet, and so I'm still working on them. But to me, that is the most wonderful thing in the world, to just move around and not just think things are fine, but to actually think, this feels good. All right, let's come into our final pose, Savasana. And lay down onto your back. Feel free to have something underneath your head. Let your gaze soften and your eyes gently close. And just relax down onto the mat. Feel your joints and bones get heavy. Become aware of your breath. You don't have to change it at all. Just be aware of it. Be aware of your body. Stay with your body for this next minute. Every time your mind wanders away, patiently and persistently, bring your mind back to feeling your body, to scanning your body. Protect your energy. Just as we strive to protect and conserve Earth's energy resources, we can strive to protect and conserve our own. Become more aware of the impact of things, people, and activities on you and your energy. What feeds you, charges you, what drains and depletes you. As you grow and become more sensitive to how things feel to you, you'll naturally grow to dislike and be uncomfortable with whatever drains or negatively impacts your energy. Yes, some difficult, draining situations are inevitable, but we can learn to protect ourselves in those situations. Sometimes we need to let go of places and behaviors that don't work for us anymore, that drain, exhaust, and deplete us. Pay attention to the impact of people, places, behaviors, and events on your energy. Pay attention to how you feel when you eat certain foods, drink certain beverages, go certain places. Learn to listen to your body, your emotions, and your heart. Be prepared to let go of some things along the way. Be gentle with yourself while you do. Learn to conserve your energy. It is a precious, valuable resource. Stay connected to your body, to your breath, to your energy. Just being aware. That's the practice. Sometimes it leads us to discover pain, but pain is always right up against deeper love. They really go hand in hand. If you're ready to start moving, you can reach your arms overhead, you can spread your fingers and toes again, you can circle your ankles and wrist again, you can rock and wiggle and move any part of your hips or shoulders or spine. And then when you're ready, roll over to one side, pause on your side, tune in to your breath, and with a softness in your face and your jaw and your ears and your lips. Press yourself up to a seated position. Anything that's comfortable for you, feel free to switch it up. Bringing your hands together at heart center in gratitude for this day. Namaste. Have a wonderful week. Protect your energy. Take care of yourself.